Russia wants to see Ukraine succeed. Once it sounds a little strange, but I was explaining to the president, President Putin.
This is my video update on this Monday afternoon, December the 29th, coming to you from Larnaca, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with the meeting in Mar-a-Lago between U.S. President Trump and Zelensky. I like it. I like it a lot, that meeting with Zelensky. If you like this video, hit the like button. Also, share this video and subscribe to this channel. Let's get into it. Trump met with Zelensky for quite a while. I believe 2 to 3 hours. That was how long he was meeting with Zelensky. It was Trump and I believe Rubio, Witkoff, Kushner. Who else was there? I think Hegseth was also there. I think I saw a photo with Susie Wiles at the table as well. And the meeting was taking place at Mar-a-Lago. Trump spoke with Putin ahead of time. Before the meeting with Zelensky, he had a 1 hour and 15-minute phone call with the Russian president, Ushakov, Putin's presidential aide. He said that the phone call was very, very cordial, friendly, businesslike. And Ushakov said in the readout that the two presidents agreed that a ceasefire would not work. No unconditional ceasefire, not even for a 60-day referendum. It would be counterproductive for a ceasefire. And they agreed to set up working groups. The phone call between Trump and Putin, according to Ushakov, was on Trump's directive, Trump's insistence. So they initiated the phone call, the United States with Russia. And Ushakov said that it is the U.S.'s idea to move forward with working groups. Two working groups, one for economics and one for security. So that was the Ushakov readout. Trump speaking with Putin before he met with the Green Goblin, who was dressed very nice. Very nice attire from Zelensky. Still no tie, but he was dressed in a nice black jacket and shirt. Without a doubt, the most dapper I have seen Zelensky in the last 4 years. But they gave a press conference after the meeting, and Zelensky did not look well. I have to say that. He was dressed nice. But boy, during the press conference, he looked shaken, dazed, and confused. I think that would be the best way to describe Zelensky. And it was a short press conference. I would say the press conference lasted 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes tops. And they took about 5 or 6 questions from the media. Most of the questions were directed towards Trump. That's got to tell you something. I think there was one question directed towards the Green Goblin, and I think that was a question on referendums. But that was it. All the other questions were directed towards Trump. Trump did pass off one question to Zelensky. He was gracious enough to pass off a question that a reporter gave to him to Zelensky. I guess he realized that Zelensky was looking very bored. But the media was interested in what Trump had to say. That tells you everything about these talks and who the real power is in these negotiations. It's Russia and the United States. It's clear, and even the media realizes it. But The outcome of the press conference, at least what Trump revealed to the media for what was discussed with Zelensky. So the outcome to the Trump-Zelensky talks, as far as what Trump revealed to the media, pretty much fell in line with the call with Putin. If you go by the readout from Ushakov, working groups, no ceasefire, and that is the same outcome that you got from the meeting with Zelensky, right? Trump talked about working groups. Zelensky wasn't too happy about the working groups idea, but Trump kind of shoehorned Ukraine to be part of the working groups idea, because from the Trump-Putin phone call, it was, at least Ushakov's readout made it so as the working groups would be the United States and Russia in a type of bilateral format. And so Trump kind of shoehorned Ukraine into it. He included Ukraine to be part of the working groups. I don't know if Russia's going to be too happy about that, but they'll go with it. They will go with it. Zelensky's not happy about creating working groups, right? You create working groups, that means that these are going to be serious diplomatic talks, right? And so Zelensky was not aiming for that. He was aiming for more money and more weapons from the Trump administration, not working groups. So he talked about working groups, and then he talked about ceasefire, no ceasefire, to be more precise. And that was just devastating for Zelensky. Absolutely devastating. Trump actually said to one of the reporters that he understands why Russia would not want a ceasefire. He actually said that, which was just devastating for the Green Goblin. Trump said you have to know all sides, right? You have to even know how Russia is looking at things. That's what Trump said. You have to know how Russia is looking at things. And if I was in Russia's shoes, yeah, why would they want a ceasefire, right? So, I mean, that was just devastating for Zelensky. But the end result is that at this moment in time, because Trump can always flip-flop back and forth, but at this moment in time, we're kind of back to Alaska, right? We're back to what Trump and Putin agreed on in Alaska, which was no ceasefire, a type of bilateral negotiation, and that's where we are, right? With security guarantees. Not many details for the security guarantees part of the discussions, at least as far as what was told to the media. We are getting reports that Zelensky asked Trump for a 50-year security guarantee for the U.S. to provide Ukraine for 50 years security guarantee, and Trump is only offering 15 years, but we still don't have any details as to what exactly these security guarantees are going to be, if any. I got the sense that listening to Trump speaking to the media, that he's not so hot on the idea of a U.S. security guarantee for Ukraine, and he kind of wants to dump it all on the Europeans. That's the sense that I got from listening to Trump. He's cooling off on the whole security guarantee idea, which he himself actually allowed to have happen, because after Alaska, he listened to Kellogg and the Europeans, and he reverted back to ceasefire and security guarantees and coalition of the willing and sanctions and all of that stuff. We've come back. He's abandoning all of that. Trump is abandoning all of the stuff that he was pushing for after Alaska, after he walked back his agreement with Putin in Alaska. So everything that Trump started doing after Alaska, he's now getting rid of all of it, and he's trying to get back to what was agreed in Anchorage, Alaska, with Putin. That's a summary of where we are at the moment. Trump could flip-flop right back to tomahawks and boots on the ground, coalition, European boots on the ground and bone-crushing sanctions and all of that stuff. Trump can easily flip-flop back to the European neocon position. But for the time being, we are trying to get back to what was agreed on in Anchorage. That's it. that was the meeting. That was the meeting between President Trump and the Green Goblin. On the referendum question, Zelensky said that the referendum is a way to sort out the issue of territory, right? Because Trump said that territory is going to be a difficult one. And Zelensky said, look, the referendum may be a way to unlock the territory issue. We put it to a referendum to the people of Ukraine. But the problem with Zelensky's referendum plan, or the European referendum plan, is that they want a 60 to 90 day ceasefire, right? And Russia has already said we're not going to agree to any of that stuff. So they're trying to get the ceasefire through the route of a referendum. It's a bit of trickery on the part of Ukraine and the Europeans. That's how they're going to try to get a ceasefire is by using a referendum. But that's already been rejected by Russia. And there was no reporter to ask Zelensky if you can organize a referendum, how come you can't organize an election, right? There was no reporter to ask that question. You can organize a referendum, and Zelensky was even talking about Ukraine diaspora and Ukrainians living outside of Ukraine, in Europe and the West. He did not mention Ukrainians living in Russia, which I thought was very interesting. Deliberately, it was not a mistake. He doesn't want to talk about the Ukrainians living in Russia. But when asked about Ukrainians outside of Ukraine voting in the referendum, Zelensky just talked about Ukrainians living in Europe and the West, and he did not talk about the 5 to 10 million Ukrainians that are living in Russia. Are they going to get a chance to vote in this referendum? Zelensky didn't mention them, but there was no reporter to ask Zelensky, look, you can organize all of this. A referendum on territory. You can organize it in Ukraine. You can organize it for Ukrainians outside of Ukraine, but you can't organize presidential elections. Why is that? No one asked him that question. I wonder why. So that was the issue of referendums. Trump talked about the economic possibilities between the U.S. and Russia, between the U.S. and Ukraine. And then Trump even said that there's possibilities between Russia and Ukraine. He said that Putin, that Russia, wants to see Ukraine succeed. He said they want to see Ukraine prosper. And there's now video on X and on Telegram zooming into Zelensky's face as Trump says that Russia wants to see Ukraine prosper. And you can see Zelensky's expression as Trump said that. He was not happy about that statement from Trump. Trump saying that Russia wants to see Ukraine prosper. Trump was asked from a reporter about 100 American soldiers, mercenaries. I believe the reporter said 100 American citizens. I don't think they used the word mercenaries. American citizens or soldiers died in Ukraine. They would not have used soldiers. They probably used citizens. I forgot exactly how the reporter phrased it. But Trump was asked about 100 Americans dying in Ukraine. And Trump said that it's a shame. I believe he used the word, it's a shame that Americans died in a foreign country. I think I got that quote right. And I think the question was, what do you say about 100 Americans dying in Ukraine? We've reached the 100 mark. It's probably a lot more than that. And we're talking about mercenaries. They just can't use the word mercenary, and I don't think they can use the word soldier. Actually, I'm positive they can't use the word American soldier either, or NATO soldier, or anything like that. So he was asked about that, and he said it's a shame that they had to die in a foreign country. And then Trump also said, it's all coming back to me now, what they were saying. One last point here. Trump also told Zelensky to take a deal. Take a deal. Because according to Trump, the issue of territory and Donbass Russia's going to take it in a couple of months, he said. So he told Zelensky, he looked at Zelensky and he said, you should probably take a deal, right? Because Russia's going to take Donbass, which is an incredible admission from the president of the United States, right? He's basically saying that he has the information now, which clearly shows that the Russian military is advancing along the front line and is capturing significant territory. And as Putin said a couple of days ago, Russia is going to capture Donetsk, and the whole terms about Ukraine withdrawing from Donetsk that are in all of the peace plans for Russia, that's going to be meaningless in a couple of months. And Trump pretty much told Zelensky, you should just take a deal, because Russia's going to capture Donbass pretty soon anyway. So that was also an amazing statement from Trump. Look, all in all, Trump, at least during this press conference, and it looks like during the meeting with Zelensky, he held firm to what was discussed back in Alaska. After Alaska, he went a different route, and he thought that he could perhaps defeat Russia militarily. With the advice of Kellogg, he decided to go with Kellogg and the neocons, and he thought that, and the Europeans, he thought that they could defeat Russia militarily. He decided to go with Besant and try to defeat Russia through sanctions, but it all failed. And it looks like he's trying to get back to what was agreed on in the United States, in Anchorage. So that's a summary of the meeting between Trump and Zelensky. As far as the Europeans go, what about the Europeans? Well, the Europeans were a no-show. They were not at these meetings. And I think everything can be summed up by this post from Poland's leader, Donald Tusk, who posted on X, "Good luck, Zelensky." That sums up everything as far as where the Europeans are at. Of course, the Europeans are going to try to sabotage any return to Alaska, any return to June 2024 Istanbul Plus. They're going to do their very best to sabotage everything. And Donald Tusk, well, his message to Zelensky, to the world, as far as the Europeans go, is we're a no-show, but we wish the Green Goblin good luck. We're irrelevant in all of this. We've been marginalized. But hey, Volodymyr, I wish you good luck. So a lot of outlets are saying this was a victory for Zelensky because Trump did not chew him out. Right? There are some magazines, there's some Bild is one. I don't know, is Bild a magazine or a newspaper or whatever? There are some publications which are saying that this is a victory because Zelensky did not get pummeled by Trump like he got last time he was at the Oval Office, or about a year ago when he was at the Oval Office. So they're just chalking that up as a victory. You met with Trump and you came out of it not getting yelled at. Okay, set the bar really, really low for the Green Goblin. What do you think, Podolyak? A good meeting, huh? It was a good meeting, Mr. President. Trump did not yell at you. Yes, I think he was very polite to me, Podolyak. Oh boy, so there are some reports which claim, well, from Fox News, which claims that there's going to be some sort of a call between Putin and Zelensky. This will be the first call between the two leaders in 5 years. The last time they spoke was in 2020. And Fox News is running with the story that there's going to be a phone call between Zelensky and Putin. I don't see it. I don't think that's what's going to happen. But that's what Fox News is running with. Trump would like to see that happen. It would be a big win for Trump, right, if he got a phone call between Putin and Zelensky. But he's barely getting phone calls between. You're barely getting phone calls between Trump and Putin. Why would you have a phone call between Putin and Zelensky? But who knows? Stranger things have happened. You may have a call between Putin and Zelensky, right? Because Zelensky is on his way back to Kiev. At least those are the rumors. Zelensky told Zelensky when Zelensky was in London that he's done being the ambassador. A very difficult job for Zelensky to be the ambassador to the UK, right? He did a lot of stuff as ambassador of Ukraine to the UK, but he's heading back to Kiev, if you believe the rumors. And there's only one reason for Zelensky to be heading back to Kiev. Only one reason. To seize power. To seize power, Zelensky. It's time to take power. That is why Zelensky is heading to Kiev, if this is true. So Zelensky's position may be weakening. And I'll tell you why it may be weakening. Because he's not bringing any results. He's not getting 140 billion in Russian frozen assets. He's not getting 225 billion from the Europeans. We don't even know if he's going to get 90 billion. He'll probably end up with something like 40 billion. When all is said and done, he may even end up with zero for the government. If you take out the 40 billion from the loan and you take out whatever money's going to go to the MIC, the 90 billion from the Europeans may end up being 10 billion or so for his administration, but he failed there, and he didn't get anything out of Trump during this meeting. That's obvious. He didn't get Trump committing to unlimited weapons and unlimited money. Zelensky put out a post yesterday, which I talked about in my video update, where he was going on about setting up 5 or 6 different funds and getting 700 or 800 billion USD for these funds up until 2040. That was what he posted. I'm going to speak with Trump and we're going to get 800 billion and we're going to set up the fund for reconstruction, the fund for reparations, the fund for building, the fund for wearing green outfits, the fund for buying mansions. He was just going on and on about all these different funds that he's going to set up with the 800 billion from Trump. We didn't get any of that, at least not in the statements from Trump to the media. So he could be going back to Kiev if he ever does go back to Kiev. Seems like the Green Goblin is never in Kiev, but his position may be weakening because he's not bringing the results. And so now you have Zelensky on his way to Kiev. Interesting developments. So that's an update there on Project Ukraine. So there was a strange report that came out the other day, which claims that the United States has already hit inside of Venezuela. They've already hit a drug facility, allegedly inside of Venezuela, that is tied to the shipping of the drugs, to the shipping route. The interesting part of this story is that none of this has been confirmed by the Pentagon, by the State Department, or by the Venezuelan government. And what this is based on is a Trump statement, Trump hinting at some sort of a strike into Venezuela. But Trump doesn't even mention Venezuela. He just talks about hitting a drug facility connected to shipping routes. Trump hits at first U.S. strike inside Venezuela. Donald Trump said the U.S. struck a drug-linked facility tied to shipping routes, hinting at Venezuela during Operation Southern Spear. The claim, unconfirmed as of December 29th, could mark a major escalation ashore. I don't know what's going on there, if this really happened or not, or if Trump is just exaggerating. For example, during the press conference, Trump said that he held a 2-hour or 2.5-hour call with Putin, when we know that the call was 1 hour and 15 minutes. So he just exaggerates everything. Just add another hour on top of the 1 hour and 15 minutes. So maybe Trump is exaggerating with this statement about hitting a drug-linked facility. But if this is confirmed, then this is a big escalation. But Venezuela is not saying anything about this either. So I just thought I would mention that story, that report. Today, Trump is going to be meeting with Netanyahu. I have seen photos of Netanyahu's motorcade in Florida, moving around Florida, getting ready to meet with Trump. On the agenda are 3 items: Gaza, the next phase of the Gaza ceasefire, if you want to call it a ceasefire, and Lebanon ceasefire, if you want to call that a ceasefire, and then Iran. The reports are that Netanyahu is going to make the case to Trump for another strike into Iran. So that's a meeting that's going to take place today. I'm sure we'll talk about the outcome of that meeting tomorrow. Here's a headline: Trump and Netanyahu meet as Gaza ceasefire stalls. U.S. President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are set to meet at Mar-a-Lago in late December 2025 to discuss the stalled Gaza ceasefire's second phase alongside Iran and Lebanon. Gaza ceasefire stalls. That's the headline. All right, so let's do a clown world. We can wrap this video up on this Monday afternoon. Always difficult to do videos on a Monday. So the intel chief of Estonia, very important intelligence official, the intel chief, the spy chief of Estonia, he said in an interview that Russia has no plans to attack Baltic countries and no plans to attack NATO. That is his assessment. That is his assessment according to all the reports and documentation that he has seen from NATO partners. According to the intel chief from Estonia, the land of stunning and brave, there are no plans by Russia to invade the Baltics or to go after any NATO countries. So the reason that he gives is that Russia was spooked by all of NATO's moves after the drone strikes and all of these things, the Russian jets over the Baltic countries and all of the hybrid war drones in European airspace. And then NATO made some very decisive moves, according to the Estonian intel chief. And this has caused Russia to rethink their plans. And so at the moment, there is no threat from Russia. When we talk about the threat assessment, how has it changed from Estonia's perspective from the beginning of the year to the end? And the Estonian spy chief said, what we're still seeing today is that Russia currently has no intention of attacking any of the Baltic states or NATO more broadly. We've seen that as a result of our responses, Russia has altered its behavior following various incidents that have occurred more broadly in the region. So far, it's still clear that Russia respects NATO and is currently trying to avoid any open conflict. Notice how over the past couple of weeks, we've had various statements from European officials saying that there is going to be no conflict between Russia and NATO. Russia and Europe. We have a statement from Alexander Stubb also saying that NATO is strong. The narrative now is that NATO is super duper strong and there's no way that Russia's going to want to take on NATO. So Alexander Stubb said that there's going to be no Russia-NATO war. Russia would not be able to take on NATO. You also had the German defense minister Pistorius say the same thing. There's no fear of a Russian NATO smash. NATO's too strong. You also had a Polish politician or former politician say the same thing. And now you have the intel chief of a Baltic country That's huge. That is huge. A politician from Estonia actually coming out and saying that there's going to be no NATO-Russia war because NATO is just too damn powerful for Russia. Anyway, that is the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We're on X, we're on Rumble, we're on Telegram, and go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, and also check us out on Substack. The link to Substack is in the description box down below. Take care.